Here's the news for this evening. Child sex abuse is a serious problem in Region 6. We'll tell you of a new report which exposes many deficiencies. Government to construct 60 houses in Linden. There is a deep divide over the future of Guyana's power source. The debate between hydropower and fossil fuel has caught fire. And thousands of commuters affected as emergency work forces closure of Demerara Harbor Bridge.
From Safe TV headquarters in South Rival Gardens, this is Safe TV Headline News with George Gonzalez.
Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel. Join us. Over the weekend, the nation was horrified by the rape and murder of 13-year-old Leonard Archibald from Sisters Village, Berbice. Soon after his decomposed body was pulled from the river, other members of the community claimed to be past victims of one of his alleged attackers. According to a recent report by local NGO ChildLink, child sex abuse cases in Berbice is a burning issue that requires more serious intervention. Here's more. As disturbing as the case is, child sexual abuse is not uncommon in Berbice. According to the 2017 Child Neglect Report compiled by local NGO ChildLink, sexual abuse is the most prevalent form of physical neglect committed against children in Region 6. According to the same study, between the years of 2012 to 2016, there were 486 reported cases of child abuse in the region. The numbers may be even higher according to Ann Green, Director of Child Services at the Ministry of Social Protection. Many cases of child abuse go unreported for years, thus meaning many child abusers, as in the case of the missing teen, never face punishment for their crimes. There is robust legislation for the protection of children in Guyana. Unfortunately, enforcement of these laws are very limited. Reporting is greatly hampered by the limited amount of social workers in the nation. East Berbice Quarantine also suffers as a result of this problem. 7 social workers are assigned to the region's 41,685 children, or a ratio of 1 social worker to 5,955 children. Subsequent administrations have been unable to stem the tide of child abuse in the nation. This points to the need for a national response to child abuse, which is one of the recommendations the report gives. In the case of little Leonard, some are disturbed by the fact that 2 male suspects allegedly committed the crime against the teen. But this is also not uncommon. The same report references a 2015 study that identifies males as the primary perpetrator and victims of youth crime. The response from police and the legal system to this national scourge has been insufficient. Often, the legal system is slow and limited in its response to child abuse cases, and this frustrates victims and their families. The report states that a child abuse case could often take as long as 7 years before the perpetrator faces sentencing. As such, some families, especially in rural regions, choose to sacrifice justice for their children for a chance at a semblance of a childhood. As in the case of Leonard Archibald, there are said to be other alleged victims of at least one of the men in custody, but they have chosen not to pursue the matter after receiving settlements from his family. Ultimately, the most disturbing revelation from ChildLink's report is that cases similar to Leonard Archibald's may be far more common in Guyana than we believe them to be. Rush hour traffic across the Demerara Harbor Bridge was brought to a standstill this afternoon. Shortly after 3 p.m., it was discovered that a connecting post on the bridge was damaged. The seriousness of the damage prompted General Manager of the Demerara Harbor Bridge Corporation, Ralston Adams, to temporarily close the bridge to vehicular traffic.
This would seriously affect the integrity of the structure, so it has to be replaced immediately. And the guys out there replacing it. Normally we will do these changing of the connecting posts during retraction, but this one happened outside of that period, and we have to intervene immediately. They expect that it should take about an hour, So we're now starting. Now it's 10 to 4. We expect it to be finished by 10 to 5. That, from experience, will tell us that there will be some serious backup of traffic on the east bank and the west side, because this is the afternoon peak hour. But we will do all our best to finish as soon as possible.
The bridge was still under repairs up to press time. The backup left dozens of minibus passengers stranded at the West Bank Bus Park on Lombard Street. Thousands of commuters were stuck in a line stretching for miles. The Granger administration is claiming that Guyana's oil find will produce enough gas to power a liquid natural gas power plant. And in keeping with that potential, they have begun discussions of bringing the gas from the seabed to the shore. However, opposition leader Mr. Bharat Jagdeo is questioning the knee-jerk approach to the issue. He is also suggesting that the focus of Guyana should be on hydropower and not fossil fuels. Wendell Jeffrey reports.
Cabinet was also briefed by the Minister of Public Infrastructure about a delegation from ExxonMobil that was in the country and had been engaging with officials from the government with respect to the natural gas to shore for power projects in Guyana.
The Minister of State, Joseph Harmon, was addressing the press at his last post-cabinet press briefing. He was speaking there to the issue of having a liquid natural gas plant constructed in Guyana. The plant would be built to facilitate the usage of natural gas that is a secondary or byproduct of oil exploration. The discussions of which the minister speaks is with the view of bringing a gas line from the Lisa Wells offshore locations and then using the gas to power a 200 megawatt electrical power generator.
Technical officers of the government of Guyana, along with ExxonMobil, our specialists and technical members convened a two-day workshop, a working group discussion, I say, at the Marriott Hotel, Georgetown, with focus on potential natural gas use in Guyana.
This meeting was noised abroad, and the opposition leader, who obviously was informed about the meeting, addressed the issue at his last press conference. There he asserted that there were no feasibility studies done before the decisions were made to bring gas for a power generator plant in Guyana.
Going to talk today to Exxon about bringing gas to do electricity when no feasibility study has been done comparing the alternatives.
The former president went on to suggest that the government keeps making one mistake after another without any research-based scientific rationale.
And not a fossil fuel venture, but comparing hydro versus gas-fired power plant versus bunker C-fired power plants, because you can't do solar and wind as base load. No comparisons.
Mr. Jagdeo went on to review his clarion cry that hydropower is the science of the future.
In the long run, hydro is the most reliable.
However, Mr. Harmon was specific as to some of the matters discussed in the meeting.
Discussions highlighting the complementary role of natural gas to other renewable sources of energy, such as hydropower and solar energy, bearing in mind Guyana's international obligations and objectives of a green economy.
The Cabinet Secretary went on to deflect any notion that the natural gas project was not thought out thoroughly.
Natural gas is a cleaner burning fuel and therefore provides an alternative option to Guyana's historical reliance on heavy fuel oils and could help to bridge the gap to the use of renewables.
Mr. Harmon was very clear that the meeting with the officials from ExxonMobil was purely a fact-finding venture.
This two-day session created a forum for the mutual exchange of data and experiences to conduct further research into the potential of utilizing the country's resource.
For Channel 2 Headline News, I am Wendell Jeffrey.
Thanks, Wendell. Residents of Region 10 will soon have a place to call home, as lands have been cleared by the Central Housing and Planning Authority for the construction of 60 houses. This was disclosed by a minister within the Ministry of Communities, Valerie Adams Yearwood, during an outreach in the region last Sunday. Of the 60 homes, 30 will be flat houses, and the other 30 will be on stilts. Construction is slated to commence shortly. The minister noted that the pre-qualification process for interested persons commenced last week Tuesday. However, she recognizes that some persons will not be able to qualify for the houses and that a plan is currently being formulated to address the issue. The minister said that housing is a major issue countrywide, and Region 10 is no different. She disclosed that over 1,000 applications for house lots have been received from the residents, and the Ministry of Communities is working assiduously to address the issue. Don't go away. Coming up after the break, Guyana warned not to rely solely on oil, and Child Protection Week observances begin.
John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Need a ride around town and beyond? Look no further than Oasis Ride Taxi Service. With affordable prices and some of the best drivers in the business, we've been delivering prompt and reliable service to Guyana for over 16 years. We also offer tours, chauffeur service, and even car rentals. You can call us at 231-5554 or 225-5496. For deals, specials, and more information, find our page on Facebook, Oasis Ride Taxi Service. Let's go.
Welcome to Kissoon's Furniture. Find everything you need for your home and more under one roof in our newly decorated showroom. Our locally crafted furniture has been perfected over the last 60 years. From our hands to your home, we also bring to you our newly introduced lines of imported furniture and sleep center, where you can find a wide range of beds and mattresses. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 60 years.
Welcome back. Several international agencies are investing their time and money in preparing Guyanese for the massive financial influx that is expected from oil. The latest such information sharing session was held over the last 2 days at the Marriott Hotel. The conference heard presentations from the Prime Minister, other ministers of government, and representatives from overseas financial institutions. Wendell Jeffrey reports.
And I think that is a situation you would like to be in. You do not want to be in a situation a la Venezuela in 10 years from now, where all reliance of the entire society and governments is on one source of wealth.
Frank Sater is the head of operations for the Latin America and Caribbean International Financial Corporation. He was being interviewed by Sophie McConnell, the local IDB representative. On addressing the idea of socio-economic development, the Chilean resident said that it is simply a matter of meeting one's financial commitments.
It is higher income, more income, being able to provide your family and yourself with all the critical services you need.
The financial expert shared a concept on how Guyana should not use its newfound wealth.
You can take all the oil revenues and spread it, distribute it to the population. Everybody has an income increase. Everybody is richer. Price levels rise, it won't really do much, and it's going to be gone as soon as the oil is gone.
He said that the government needs to be more proactive and be aware of the expectation management concept.
Very systematically plan what is actually needed and how do you build up economic potential for the future. What are the skills you need for that? What is the right infrastructure you need for that?
Addressing the audience, Attorney at Law Nigel Hughes used the term zero poverty. He spoke of this as a sustainable goal. The former politician said that this zero poverty must be the #1 sustainable goal.
No region or section of society must be left behind. That is the Sustainable Development Goal #1, zero poverty.
The founder member of Guyana Oil and Gas Agency said that cheap electrical power should be the other desired sustainable goal.
Economic studies have shown the transformative impact that cheap power has on all lives of the citizens of a country, particularly the poor.
Addressing the conference, Minister of Business Dominique Gaskin noted that Guyana's financial status will soon be transformed. And while this is not business as usual, we have to be fully prepared for the realities.
There will still be certain services, transportation, real estate, hospitality, waste disposal, accommodation, that need to be sourced from Guyana.
The minister said that while there will be growth, there will also be transformation, and that transformation will become the new normal.
Transformation will create a new normal in Guyana's economy and needs to be preceded by a clear sense of purpose on the parts of both government and the private sector so that it aligns with long-term national priorities.
The minister said that the government has earmarked massive infrastructural developments, including transportation and energy, which will be the focus of their spending investments. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu said that we should not forsake our agricultural and aquacultural developments. Guyana should not become a single-source economy, the Prime Minister said.
It is enough for all if you join in the process of transforming the economy and to make us less dependent on oil and gas as a single source of economic activities in Guyana.
The conference was sponsored by the International Development Bank and the Caribbean and Central American Action, the CCA, which focuses on financial services, policy, and regulatory environments. For Channel 2 Headline News, I am Wendell Jeffrey.
Thanks, Wendell. Guyana is currently observing Child Protection Week under the theme Partnering with Families and Communities for Positive Outcomes for Children. Here's more. This week, Guyana observes Child Protection Week. As such, the Child Protection Agency is hosting a set of events under the theme Partnering with Families and Communities for Positive Outcomes for Children. Social Services Officer Milton Smith of the Child Protection Agency explained the significance of this year's theme.
We want to ensure that persons in the community take the responsibility and to ensure that children are protected and kept safe. So we want everybody to come on board. Child protection is not only about child protection officers, but it's about the community playing an active role in every child's life, ensuring that they're protected and they're kept safe so that they can grow and reach their full potential.
The disturbing discovery of Leonard Archibald's decomposed body at the beginning of the observances highlights a serious problem. Child abuse, especially sexual abuse, is rampant in Guyana. Silence only serves to embolden perpetrators. This makes tomorrow's event all the more important.
This Wednesday, we'll be having our Breaking the Silence on child sexual abuse campaign in Essequibo and Regina, whereby persons can come out and they can be a part of this big campaign. When you come out is that you're showing support for those persons who have been affected, and you're helping us to avoid persons from being abused when you come out and you support us.
Smith also shared the events planned for this weekend, including an event on Friday hosted in conjunction with ChildLink.
And the candlelight vigil will start at the Guyana Police Force Annex, Eve Leary, and it will start at 5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m. this Friday. And we're encouraging everybody to bring your candles, and you can join us in this walk so that we can commemorate and we can show respect to those persons who are, those children more so, who would have been affected by some form of abuse.
On Saturday, the CPA will host their Family Fun Day at the National Botanical Gardens starting at 2 p.m. Over the course of the week, CPA representatives will be at schools and public spaces nationwide. The intention is to sensitize communities to the seriousness of the situation. An 8-member team from the Ministerial Task Force on Trafficking in Persons recently visited Upper Mazaruni, Region 7, for Trafficking in Persons Awareness. The team included representation from the Ministry of Public Security, Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, and the Ministry of Social Protection. They visited mining camps, indigenous settlements, and landings in the area. The team was based in Mbaimadi and held interactive sessions with villagers and miners at Mbaimadi Landing, Jawala Kamarang, Keiko, Karawing, Bakdam, and mining camps near Chai Chai Falls and below Abao Creek. The team also visited Fort Knox and Dragas along the Mazaruni River to distribute brochures and other anti-trafficking in persons paraphernalia such as posters, hats, bags, and wristbands. The visit was from September 15th to the 19th, 2017. Don't go away, still ahead we have our regional news, world news, the ride around town and beyond. Look no further than Oasis Ride taxi service. With affordable prices and some of the best drivers in the business, we've been delivering prompt and reliable service to Guyana for over 16 years. We also offer tours, chauffeur service, and even car rentals. You can call us at 231-5554 or 225-5496. For deals, specials, and more information, find our page on Facebook, Oasis Ride Taxi Service. Let's go.
Welcome to Kisum's Furniture. Find everything you need for your home and more under one roof in our newly decorated showroom. Our locally crafted furniture has been perfected over the last 60 years. From our hands to your home, we also bring to you our newly introduced lines of imported furniture and sleep center, where you can find a wide range of beds and mattresses. Kisum's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 60 years.
Styles, simply different.
Welcome back. In news from the region now. The movement for social justice has likened persons who are opposed to having Dominican hurricane victims seeking shelter in TNT to Donald Trump. More from C News.
The movement for social justice has likened people who are not in support of having Dominicans affected by Hurricane Maria come to this country to seek refuge to U.S. President Donald Trump.
It's no different from President Trump and the white supremacy of the United States talking about immigrants coming from Mexico or from Latin American countries, or the alt-right, the right wing in Germany, that just got 13% of the vote in Germany, who say that they're anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant. It is the same root of xenophobia and racism and so on.
The MSJ leader said Trinidadians need to realize that 99% of them have immigrant ancestry, and as a result, they should be generous to those in need.
We say that whenever narrow nationalism xenophobia and racism develops in a society, what you then get is hate, you get bigotry, and ultimately you get a type of political reaction that, if allowed to go unchallenged and unchecked, can lead to politics that is right-wing and that is very reactionary and neo-fascist.
And internationally, the United States has seen an increase in violent crimes for a second consecutive year. Here's more from CBS.
Paula, I want to turn now to new numbers released by the FBI. They show violent crimes in the U.S. have increased for a second straight year. Paula, what did the newest FBI numbers show specifically?
Exactly what you said. This is the second year in a row where we have seen an increase in violent crime. And even though overall violent crime remains at historic lows, 2 years in a row you see an increase, although it is driven specifically by sharp increases in crime in a couple big cities.
Well, violent crime numbers are drastically lower than they were 20 or 30 years ago. So is it unfair to say that violent crime is rising?
Well, there are a lot of experts out there right now who are saying it's unfair. They're saying, look, compared to 25, 50 years ago, crime is dramatically lower than it was then. But it is important to notice these are national statistics, and Chicago and these other cities, they're going to be incorporated in these numbers just as they were 5 or 6 years ago. It's important, of course, to see the increase in context, but you can't undercut the fact that, yes, over the past 2 years, there has been an increase in that overall national number.
And Paula, what does Attorney General Jeff Sessions say about this increase?
Well, Elaine, he probably wants to come out and say, hey, I told you so, because for the past 9 months, he's been coming out in his speeches and saying that he believes that there is a trend, an increase in crime. When we press him on why he thought that, because we didn't have these statistics, he pointed to these increases in Chicago and other cities. He said he does not believe it's a blip. He said it's a pattern, and he has pushed forward policies that he believes will help combat that. Specifically, he has implemented a more aggressive approach to gun crimes at the federal level, but that policy is controversial. And Elaine, I think that's why you're seeing some people who are trying to put this number in context and kind of tamp down the headlines that violent crime is increasing, because perhaps they don't agree with Attorney General Sessions' approach to reducing it.
And Paula, do we have a sense of what's driving this increase?
There are a lot of different theories, but the prevailing theory appears to be the so-called Ferguson effect. This is something that the former FBI director, James Comey, endorsed. Jeff Sessions has also pointed to the fact that around 2015 is when we started to see this increase in crime. And there are people that argue the Ferguson effect is when perhaps officers are less likely to get out of their cars and do that routine beat policing for fear of the kind of scrutiny that we saw following Ferguson and many other high-profile police use of force incidents. There are a lot of people who argue that this is what is driving crime. And interestingly, Elaine, today, the new FBI director, Christopher Wray, in the release for these new statistics, he noted that it is very important for the FBI to continue to press to get statistics on police use of force, because those really don't exist. He said that is a very important piece of the puzzle here. While no one can actually prove what is causing this increase in crime, this tends to be the prevailing theory among top federal law enforcement officials.
All right, Paula Reed in Washington for us. Paula, thank you.
And that's Channel 2 Headline News for this Tuesday evening, the 26th of September 2017. As we take our leave, we invite you to find Channel 2 Headline News on Facebook, YouTube, and ch2headlinenews.com. You can also tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 for a rebroadcast, and Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock for more news. For now, I'm George Gonzalez, signing out from this newscast, saying thank you for welcoming us into your homes, and do have a blessed evening.